The neon lights of the exclusive Lagos nightclub flickered like a warning, but Ada, Amoka, Busy, and Fumi were too blinded by excitement to notice. Dressed in dazzling mini dresses, their faces perfectly made up, they walked past the bouncers with practiced confidence. To the outside world, they were just privileged socialites enjoying the night, but only they knew the truth. By day, they were the pride of their prestigious high school, known for their intelligence and charm. Teachers admired them, classmates envied them, and their parents believed they were destined for greatness. But by night, they transformed into something else, entertainers for men who could afford their time. "Tonight is the night we make serious money," Amoka whispered, adjusting the strap of her designer knockoff bag. "We just need to catch the right eyes," Busy added, scanning the room filled with politicians, businessmen, and criminals alike. Their plan was simple: get noticed, get spoiled, and get paid. It had worked before, and it would work again. But tonight, something was different. As they sipped on cocktails, a man in the corner caught Ada's attention. He was older, dressed in an expensive agbada, with a gold chain peeking from his collar. His cold eyes settled on them, and when he gestured for them to come closer, the girls felt a strange mixture of excitement and fear. "That's Chief Odenigbo," Fumi whispered, gripping Ada's wrist. "They say he owns half of Lagos, and that he's dangerous." Ada smirked, flipping her hair. "Then he's exactly who we need." They had no idea that this single decision would destroy their lives forever. The girls approached Chief Odenigbo's VIP section with confidence, but beneath their poised smiles, their hearts pounded. The man before them radiated power, the kind that came with wealth dipped in blood. His dark eyes moved slowly from one girl to the next, as if assessing their worth. "So, you're the little queens of Lagos nightlife." His voice was deep, slow, and deliberate. The girls giggled, playing along. "We just know how to have a good time," Ada responded, her tone flirtatious. Chief Odenigbo smirked, tapping his ring against his glass. "Good. I like girls who know what they want." He leaned forward. "And what do you want?" Amoka, always the boldest, spoke first. "Luxury. Comfort. A soft life." The chief chuckled, amused. "Or greed. It's refreshing when young people admit it so easily." He snapped his fingers, and a waiter appeared with a silver tray. On it were 4 neatly arranged bundles of cash. "Consider this a test. If you can impress me tonight." "There's more where that came from." Busy's fingers twitched at the sight of the money. The crisp notes gleamed under the dim club lights, promising a life they had only dreamed of. The girls exchanged glances, each silently agreeing. This was the moment they had been waiting for. "We won't disappoint," Fumi finally said, her voice steady but her eyes betraying uncertainty. Chief Odenigbo grinned. "Good girls. Welcome to the big league." As they raised their glasses in a toast, none of them realized they had just sold their souls to the devil himself. The weight of the cash in their designer knockoff purses felt surreal. As they sat in the backseat of a black SUV, being driven to an undisclosed location, Ada, Amoka, Busy, and Fumi could barely contain their excitement. This was the life they had always wanted: money without limits, power without effort, but there was something unsettling about the way Chief Odenigbo had smirked at them. Something about the way his fingers drummed against the table as if calculating their worth beyond the cash he had handed them. "We are finally made," Busy whispered, flipping through the thick wad of Naira notes. "Do you know how many months of saving this would have taken us?" Amoka grinned. "I told you, we needed bigger players. No more wasting time on small boys with empty promises." Fumi, however, wasn't smiling. She stared out of the window, watching as the bright city lights faded into darkness. "Where exactly are we going?" she finally asked. Ada scoffed. "Relax, Fumi. It's probably one of those private estates. These men don't just party anywhere." The car came to a slow halt in front of a heavily guarded mansion. The air was thick with the scent of luxury and secrecy. Armed men stood at every corner, their faces blank, their eyes cold. The girls hesitated for a moment before stepping out of the car. The moment they entered the house, music and laughter filled their ears. Beautiful women, dressed in gold and silk, lounged around, sipping expensive champagne. The men were older, wealthier, and more powerful than anyone they had ever encountered. Chief Odenigbo appeared at the top of the grand staircase, a cigar in one hand, a glass of whiskey in the other. "Welcome to paradise, my darlings," he called out, his voice dripping with satisfaction. "Tonight, you'll see what it truly means to live." The girls exchanged nervous glances. This was the world they had fought to enter, but something told them they were in deeper than they had planned. And there would be no turning back. The moment the girls stepped into Chief Odenigbo's mansion, they knew they had crossed into a different world. The air was thick with cigar smoke and expensive cologne, the laughter of rich men mixing with the clinking of crystal glasses. Women draped in diamonds lounged on velvet couches, their eyes sharp, their smiles forced. Ada took a deep breath, adjusting the strap of her dress. This was the life she had dreamed of: wealth, power, influence. No more hustling for school fees, no more envying their classmates with rich parents. Tonight, they were on the same level. A waiter approached with a tray of drinks, and Amoka eagerly grabbed a glass of champagne. "This is it, girls," she whispered. "We've finally arrived." But Fumi wasn't convinced. She scanned the room, her unease growing. The men were too old, too dangerous looking. And the way Chief Odenigbo watched them from the balcony, like a hunter studying his prey, sent a chill down her spine. Before she could voice her concerns, the chief descended the stairs, his white smile never reaching his eyes. "Ladies," he said smoothly, spreading his arms. "Tonight, you are honored guests. Enjoy yourselves. Dance. Drink. But remember, everything comes with a price." His words lingered as he walked away, disappearing into a private room with a group of men in suits. Busy nudged Ada. "What do you think he meant by that?" Ada smirked, sipping her drink. "He's just trying to sound powerful. Let's not overthink it." But as the night stretched on, they began to notice the strange disappearances. A girl they had seen earlier was nowhere to be found. Another stumbled down the hallway, her makeup smeared, her eyes glassy with fear. A sinking feeling settled in Fumi's stomach. Something was wrong. And by the time they realized it, it would be too late. The party raged on, but the excitement in the girls' hearts had started to fade. The music was loud, the drinks kept flowing, and men with eyes like wolves circled them like they had already been bought. Ada, ever the bold one, pretended not to notice. She had come too far to start feeling scared now. Chief Odenigbo was the key to their future, and she wasn't about to let some uneasy feeling ruin that. "Come on, Fumi," she whispered. "Relax, let's enjoy ourselves." But Fumi couldn't. Something was off. The beautiful women they had met earlier were either missing or whispering in dark corners, their expressions tense. Just then, a young girl stumbled out of a hallway, her dress torn, her mascara running in thick black streams down her face. She looked around wildly before two hefty men grabbed her and dragged her back inside. Fumi grabbed Busy's wrist. "Did you see that?" Busy hesitated, her champagne glass shaking slightly. I don't know. Maybe she was drunk." Before Fumi could argue, Chief Odenigbo's voice boomed from the balcony. "Ladies and gentlemen." He lifted his glass, a sinister grin on his face. "Tonight, we welcome new members into our family. Let's make sure they are well taken care of." The crowd erupted in cheers, but something in his tone made Fumi's stomach drop. She turned to Ada and Amoka. "We need to leave." Ada scoffed. "Are you crazy? Leave. Do you know how much money we're about to make?" Fumi's pulse quickened. "That's the problem. It's too much, too fast." Nothing in this world comes for free. Just then, two guards appeared behind them, blocking the exit. Their smiles were polite, but their eyes held a silent warning. The realization hit them all at once. They weren't guests anymore. They were prisoners. Ada's breath itched as she turned to see the two towering guards standing behind them, their expressions unreadable. The girls exchanged quick glances, their earlier confidence melting into silent panic. Fumi clenched her fist. "We need to leave. Now." Amoka forced a laugh, trying to act unbothered. "Excuse me," she said sweetly to one of the guards, "we just need some fresh air." The man didn't move. "The party isn't over yet." His voice was deep, final. Busy's hands trembled as she gripped her clutch. "Ada, what do we do?" Ada swallowed hard, her mind racing. Chief Odenigbo had been generous, too generous. The money, the luxury, the invitations to exclusive places. It had all seemed too easy. And now, standing here, unable to leave, she finally understood why. This wasn't just a party. It was a trap. A waiter walked past them with a tray of drinks, and Fumi took the opportunity to grab his arm. "Please," she whispered urgently. "We need to go." The waiter's face remained neutral, but his eyes flickered with something, pity. He leaned in slightly and murmured under his breath, "No one leaves unless the chief says so." Panic surged through Fumi. She turned back to her friends, her voice shaking. "We're in serious trouble." Ada straightened her shoulders, trying to suppress the fear bubbling in her chest. "Then we have to play along. Until we find a way out." As if sensing their unease, Chief Odenigbo's voice boomed from across the room. "My queens." He spread his arms wide, smiling. "Come, let's celebrate. Tonight is just the beginning of your new lives." The girls forced smiles and stepped forward, their legs feeling like lead. They had walked into this willingly, but now, they had no idea if they would ever walk out again. The girls forced their way through the crowd, their smiles tight as they approached Chief Odenigbo. The air in the mansion felt heavier now, thick with unspoken threats. He gestured for them to sit beside him on a plush leather couch, his gold rings flashing under the dim lights. "You girls are special," he said, his deep voice smooth but laced with something darker. "Not many get to sit where you are sitting. Not many get the kind of opportunities one offers." Ada, trying to control the tremor in her voice, smiled. "We are honored, Chief," Chief Odenigbo chuckled, his gaze lingering on them. "Honor is for fools. I offer wealth, power, security. But it comes at a price. Are you ready to be part of something bigger?" Amoka leaned in slightly, intrigued. "What do you mean?" Odenigbo swallowed his drink, watching them carefully. "I don't deal with small girls who only want handbags and drinks. I need loyalty. If you stay with me, you will never lack anything. But if you cross me..." His smile faded, and for a brief second, the warmth in his eyes disappeared, replaced with something chilling. Busy swallowed hard. "And if we don't?" "Stay," the chief smirked, taking a slow sip of his whiskey. "Then you become a problem. And I don't like problems." Fumi clenched her fists, her mind screaming at her to run. But the guard at the door reminded her they had no way out. Ada, always the strategist, nodded. "We understand, Chief." She reached for her glass and raised it. "To new beginnings," the chief's smile returned. To new beginnings, the girls clinked their glasses, but as they drank, the realization hit them like a thunderbolt. They had just made a pact with the devil himself. The night stretched on, but the girls' minds were in a constant state of turmoil. They laughed and danced, trying to fit into a world they didn't understand, their eyes always darting nervously toward the shadows. Chief Odenigbo's mansion felt more like a prison with every passing moment. The money, the luxury, the power, it was all too intoxicating to resist, yet something deep inside told them they were paying a price they couldn't yet comprehend. By the time the early morning light began to creep through the windows, The girls found themselves in a secluded corner, away from the party. Fumi couldn't stop shaking. What have we gotten ourselves into? She whispered, her voice raw with fear. Ada, despite the unease gnawing at her, placed a reassuring hand on Fumi's shoulder. We just need to keep calm. We've made the deal. There's no going back now. But it feels wrong, Busy said quietly, her voice trembling as she glanced around. I don't trust any of this. I thought we were just going to have fun, make some money, and leave. This isn't fun, Ada. This is dangerous. Amoka finished for her, her eyes dark with worry. She stared into her glass, as if hoping the drink would give her courage. We knew what we were getting into. We've been watching these men for months, remember? They don't just throw money around for nothing. I know, but... Fumi hesitated, then let the words tumble out. They are not just rich men. They are dangerous. They have connections, power. I'm scared, Ada. What if we don't get out? What if we get caught in their web? Ada took a deep breath, her resolve hardening. Fumi, we can't think like that. We agreed to this. And there's no turning back. Besides, we've got money. We can do anything we want with it. But deep down, she couldn't shake the growing sense of dread that had settled in her chest. They were playing a dangerous game. And the worst part was that, in that moment, they didn't even know the rules. Days turned into weeks, and the glittering world they had been thrust into became both their paradise and their prison. Chief Odenigbo's family wasn't just about wealth and luxury, it was about control. The girls were now part of something far darker than they had imagined. At first, they thought they could play along, collect the gifts, attend the parties, and then leave when they had enough. But they were wrong. Ada found herself growing more distant from her friends as she became increasingly enthralled by the power they wielded. The designer clothes, the expensive handbags, the men who adored them, it was all too intoxicating. She no longer cared about the quiet warnings from Fumi or Busy. You can't leave now, Chief Odenigbo had told her during one of their private talks. You've already made your choice. And I don't like it when people try to back out. She didn't dare question him. Not anymore. Amoka, on the other hand, was fully embracing the life they had found. She reveled in the lavish dinners, the exotic vacations, and the compliments from the men who were willing to do anything to please them. But her bravado was only a mask for the fear slowly creeping into her heart. Busy and Fumi tried to hold on to the remnants of their former selves. But every time they tried to leave, the walls closed in tighter. The guards, the men who looked at them with eyes full of cold indifference, the whispers in the shadows, they were trapped. Do you ever think about what happens if we get caught? Fumi asked one night as they sat alone in their rented apartment. The curtains were drawn tight, and the weight of silence pressed down on them. Busy bit her lip, her hand clutching her phone. I don't know. Maybe we should leave Lagos. Go somewhere no one knows us. But even as she spoke, they both knew it was too late. They were already entangled in a web too thick to escape. And worse, the man who had lured them in with promises of a soft life was now the one controlling their every move. Fumi stared out of the window, her eyes wide with fear. We should have never gotten involved with him. Ada, still drunk on the power, only shook her head. It's too late now. As the weeks bled into months, the girls began to feel the weight of the trap they had willingly walked into. The glamour of Chief Odenigbo's world had one thing, revealing a chilling undercurrent of control and fear. No longer did they get to live the double lives they once enjoyed, rich by day, free by night. They were now pawns in a game far too dangerous to win. Ada spent less time with her friends and more time under Odenigbo's watchful gaze. He had grown possessive, often sending his men to check on her, to make sure she was always available for his special gatherings. He treated her like his personal prize, a token of his power. Amoka, too, had been pulled deeper into the chief's web. She had been given a small role in one of his many businesses, an upscale nightclub that catered to the elite. She thought it was the next step in their grand rise to the top, but in reality, it was a calculated move by Odenigbo to solidify his grip on them. Busy had started to lose her sense of self. Once the most carefree of the group, she now found herself unable to escape the constant fear that hung over them. The men who once lavished them with gifts and affection now seemed like predators, watching every move they made. And Fumi was the most frightened of them all. She had heard the whispers, seen the strange transactions that took place behind closed doors. She was beginning to realize that Chief Odenigbo's wealth wasn't just a product of smart business, it was the result of bloodshed, corruption, and crime. One night, as the girls gathered in their apartment after another exhausting round of business, Fumi finally spoke up. "I can't do this anymore," she said, her voice shaking. "I want out. I don't care about the money or the clothes. I just want to go back to being me." Ede shot her a look of disdain. "You think you can walk away from this now? You really believe they'll let you leave after everything they've done for you?" Fumi's face hardened. "I'd rather be broke and free than live like this." Busy, always more pragmatic, spoke quietly. "It's not that simple. Odenigbo doesn't let people leave. And if you try..." Her words trailed off, the implication hanging heavy in the air. But despite their fears, despite the cold reality that was settling into their bones, Fumi's words had ignited something inside each of them. They couldn't keep running from the truth forever. The chief's empire was built on fear. And one way or another, they would have to face it.